All right, welcome everybody. And like we said last week, this week let's try to take a look at illustration, and we're going to take a look at F&G past setter illustration and see how we could maybe just how we usually do this. I mean, do a typical IU presentation to somebody, that how we could interpret the variables in the illustration. Okay, and that said, let me share my screen very quickly. I'm just going to take a typical illustration, not going so deep, and but then we're going to really dwell on how to market this product to your client. All right, when you log into F&G, which I know all of us here do have login and do have agent portal, you toggle here and you could find what you want to do. Then we're going to be dealing with sales tool, and we already are in sales tool illustration, and then we click on web-based illustration. It will take some time. And then when it opens, we're going to feed in client information, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, let's say brand new illustration, start a new case. Starting a new case. You know that most of us are already used to this portal. All right, start a new case. Let's say sample client. Sample client 008. All right. Sample client 08. Let's say this client is 35 years old. Is that okay? It's a female client from the state of Texas. Let's leave it as it is. And then we index universal life. You could put in the date of birth and all the other stuff. We're doing this for illustration purpose. So find product, and we will get to the past setter. Past setter, which is one of our best product that we use for IUL, index universal life. Typically, most people who want this will really want to get some cash advantage, cash accumulation. Very few, I've seen very few who just want to get a death benefit to keep for the beneficiary. So the past setter actually does just that. It's an accumulation based tool. It really accumulates cash as like crazy. And before we go into this, all right, let's see how okay, yeah, illustration product is open. Now, a 35-year-old who is very healthy, but let us stay within the standard non-tobacco. But if the underwriter decides to give that person preferred, that's up to the underwriting department. We're taking a very healthy person. Say this, our policy was going to be increasing. B is for increasing, and A is for decreasing. Increase up to the age of 65. When you come here, you're choosing the death benefit option. You could go with option A, which is level, B, which is increasing, and varies, option B to A. So we're taking increasing option up to the age of 65. Now, remember, we took our underwriting class already, which is standard non-tobacco. If you want to do a lot of stuff, you could just leave it at none and then input all the variables by yourself, or you take max accumulation and income, which is what we're going to be using now. So we want to get maximum income out of this policy. Yeah, we could solve for face with specified income stream, or we just add an income stream, maximum accumulation, which is just accumulation without distribution. So, and We could also solve for premium, for face amount, guidelines, single premium, and level premium. So let's go for max accumulation and income, which means max accumulation and distribution. All right, there we go. We go here, you click on premium. We remember we're solving for face, and so we put the premium. This girl, this young girl is putting in $1,000 a month in this policy. You could put less. You could put 500, you could put 200, you could put anything you choose to put. It will all depend, and it will also determine what you get out of this. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. So most people who understand this will want to put as much as possible. If you put less, you still going to get a very good share of your money. Everything will just be proportionate to what you put in. And so this lady pays this policy for, let's say, pays it for 20 years, and then it could start doing anything up to the age of 55, stop. Or you could pay forever. All right, you go premium pay up to 20 years, like I said. Let's say we want the cash value at age of 100 to be 10,000. And then you take an income in the form of loan at some point of this policy. And we want to specify, make it to be annual loan, taking it basically at age of retirement. Let's turn this into a stream of income, and she's going to take this income forever until 120. As you like to do, and then we'll make sure we check this, which is the new provisions for Internal Revenue Code 770102. So the provision that was actually released in 2021. So as of January, you can put more money into an index universal life policy like you would do before. So this provision allows us to be able to put more money without necessarily expanding or increasing the face amount. So let's go. The loan type is going to be variable, of course. Variable loan will simply just mean that we are taking a loan that is, we are participating in the loan, and then, but our money is still working for us. If you take a fixed loan, that loan is not going to be work for us. It has a fixed interest on it, and then you can just wash the loan away when you pass away. Now, index crediting, very important. I just did something here. I took it off from S&P 500 annual point to point, which is looking great here. When you look at it, if you go just for 100% participation rate, but Barclay Trailblazer Index Sector 5 annual point to point at 7.16 would beat S&P at any point because of the participation rate of 145 that is given to it. It means that if Barclay were to go up by 10 points in the real index in the market, then those that have policy with F&G that is tied to Barclay, they will make 14.5% instead of 10%. So that's why I'm going for that 100. You see, and again, Barclay Trailblazer annual point to point sector 5, that's what with that 145% participation rate is actually an open index that doesn't have a cap on it. So it has no cap. And this is the first time I'm seeing an uncapped index that is linked to an IUL. And that explains why I'm so passionate about F&G product. I mean, this literally means that you can make money more than somebody that is trading in the open market. Before, critics of index universal life usually say that, oh, it is usually tied to have a cap and a floor, where the floor is good because it protects you from losing money. But they always say that I don't want to put my money where I'm limited. Ramsey will tell you that, oh, most index universal life, they cap you at 9, which means that if S&P goes up to 30%, you only get 9%. But rather, today we're dealing with the opposite here. If Barclay were to go up to 30%, you will probably make about 45% on your money. So you're going to be making money with this policy more than somebody that is trading in an open market. And so I like to go with Barclays Trailblazer and not point to point with that 145% participation rate, which is really very, very great. So we can do it. We can just look at this policy and see how it's going to perform. Everything being good. Now we could go here, view and print illustration. As simple as that. Let's see how it goes. Please, as it is opening, let me see. I'm traveling a lot today. I had the chance to drink water. Cool. Get in there. The software sometimes is very slow, guys. So it's not about us, it's about the software. But everybody is using this same software. Pay attention to this policy. So now we got the policy for for our sample client 08, and we are ready to review this policy with her. All right, this is an index universal life illustration, which I said F&G pass setter, which is really a very awesome tool when it comes to accumulating money for your retirement or just accumulating money to use it in future for whatever you want. You want to use it to do business or whatever. This is a very perfect tool. You could also actually effectively transfer wealth using this tool without having to pay any tax on it, because that's tax-free money that you accumulate with this policy. And so that's what we will be dwelling on. We make sure that we stay within the guidelines that are specified in the Internal Revenue Code 7702, so that we don't create a MEC situation or a modified endowment contract. So we could accumulate cash value, like you said here, wealth transfer, cash value, it comes with living benefits, which means that whatever money this lady will just see it as we go down. And then it puts into this policy is going to trigger an add-on. So some money that will be apportioned to you depending on how much you contribute and your class rating. And this money is usually not your money. It's money that is, we call it death benefit or living benefit. So it means that living benefit, it becomes living benefit if you happen sick and you want to maybe, and you have the right to accelerate a portion of that to take care of yourself. So let's take a look here now. Yeah, our sample client puts in $1,000 every month. And from the first month, if this application, if she qualifies for this and is approved, yeah, F&G is going to apportion $319,000. That is as living benefit. It means that if she was to have any form of critical illness, terminal illness, or a chronic illnesses are usually those illnesses that will allow that impedes you from, or that prevents you from performing 2 of the 6 activities of daily living. If you cannot go to do your toileting by yourself, if you are not able to breathe on your own, if you're not able to move or transfer yourself, then any of those 2 in combination, if you can maybe see, if you are away, the loss of sight or loss of any function, or maybe a leg, any combination of 2 will qualify you for chronic illness, which you can accelerate up to 25% of your money. So now it comes with the following riders attached for free: overloan protection, chronic illness rider, like I said, terminal illness rider, and critical illness rider, terminal illness rider, and chronic illness rider. Now at age 35, she will have $319,000 if she's approved for this policy when she start putting in the first amount of money that she's putting. The annual, the minimum non-lap premium for this policy is $119. Let's just say $120. It means that once this policy is approved, she could pay just a minimum of $120 or $119 up to the age of 50 before putting any money into it. And it will prevent the policy from lapsing. So after the age of 50, she will normally have to put in a little bit. of money in order to make sure that the policy doesn't lapse. But remember, she engaged to put in to $1,000 for 20 years. If she does that, she's never going to have any instance where she has to maybe would need to increase some money or put additional money on that. So we put in this plan based on what the client agrees to pay as premium, not based on the minimum non-lap premium. But we just show this to them to tell them that, hey, if the worst come to the worst and you don't have money, you want to put in just as little as possible. That is the minimum that you could put in order to prevent the policy from lapsing. Because they will always ask you those scenarios. Say, oh, what if I don't have money tomorrow to do that? But you decided that you're going to do this. And in buyer's guide, we are covered there because the buyer's guide actually specifies some of these things there. Now, let's go down a little bit. Let's go down. The variable loan option, which I told you, it means that if you take that loan, you're taking money against your account value and your money is still there working for you. So yeah, but if you take a fixed loan, it has a different rate. It is 2% and the variable loan is 5%. Okay, fixed loan is 8%, sorry, interest, while variable loan is 5%, which means that if you take a loan during the period where this index is making 15%, you will still be making 10% on your money while you are using that money to do your other stuff there, to make some other money elsewhere. That is, all right. Now, if, let's go down real quick to the portion that are really important. And yeah, those riders. It's important to always display this rider so that your client can see it. So this policy is not only going to be something policy, a life insurance policy, but it's also going to build cash that you can take down the road. And with overloan protection, it give you access of money that is over what you have put in, so that you can take money that exceeds your surrender value without causing the policy to lapse. It's actually spelled there. Yeah. So if you have to read, if you read this with them, they're going to see it. So, but you have to make sure you talk with your agent and make sure you follow the guideline or follow his guidance. You could also accelerate up to 100% of your death benefit in case of a critical illness, and it's capped at 1 million. 100% of money. If your death benefit were up to $1 million, you have the right to take up to that $1 million. If you have a death benefit that is above $1 million, if you have any problem, you can take 1 million up to $1 million, and then the rest will be given to your beneficiary if you pass, when you pass away, the rest of the death benefit. But we're not talking about your money. We're talking about the free money that was given to you when you sign on your coverage, your death benefit or the living benefit. So I already told you guys what critical illness could be. I mean, critical illness would be any disease that really reduce your capacity to a certain level, which your doctor diagnosed will fall under, like heart attack, stroke, kidney, renal failure, major organ transplant, and many others, or serious accident. If this lady, maybe at the age of 70, is diagnosed with a chronic illness or with a terminal illness, and the doctor has determined that she has less than 18 months to live, she will have the right to access up to 100% of the policy of the death benefit or living benefit at that time. So if at that time the death benefit has increased, because 70 years is about 35 times 2. So if by that age of 70, the death benefit is up to $1 million or more than that, she have the right to take up to $1 million without causing any harm to the policy. And then many people has had this situation, they take the money, go to cure themselves, get healed, and they come back and continue life, which is really an awesome tool. So it means that F&G got your back. They support you in times of need. Accelerated benefit for chronic illness, which I said is up to 25, you can get up to 25% of the death benefit. And you bear with me that most Americans after the age of 70 or age of 65 will suffer from at least 1 or 2 forms of chronic illness. Yeah, chronic illnesses will include things like hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and COPD, all those illnesses that requires you to actually be on continual care, either nursing care or or medical care. So they give you 25% of your death benefit while you are alive in order to help you supplement for your medical expenses. Very important to make sure you go through this with your client. Yeah. You could, if there's any other question, everything will pretty much be in here. So we could go up and go down and be able to just see whatever the client is asking you. So let's look at the illustration of the policy proper. Most IUL, like I told you, have a floor of 0. F&G Pacetter has a floor of 0.25. And it has, with the Barclay Trailblazer, if you attach it to this Barclay Trailblazer annual point-to-point, with a 145% participation rate and a 1% bonus, it has no cap on it. It means that you can make more money than the actual index to performance, how the index is performing in the market. But if you go with the S&P 500, you will be limited to 13%. So it's capped at 13%. Now, let's look at how it's going to go. 1,000 in for the first month, you approve. If anything were to happen the next day, she gets $329,000 deposited in her account or given to the beneficiary. Or if she's still alive, she should get this money. If she has suffered from any chronic illness or terminal illness, she will get this money. But if she doesn't, or she passes away, whoever she nominates as beneficiary will get that big sum of money, just against $1,000 that you put in. Now, if you go for the first year, second year, third year, let's look at the policy performance. This is premium outlay. This is how much money you pay in this way, as you see here, how much you pay in. And then let's pay attention to the far right 3-column 2, which is non-guarantee or current assumption. Remember, when we were reviewing the index universal life or the index, which we actually always show our client that, hey, this is an index account, which means that you have the opportunity to make money without losing money. And for you to be able to participate in market upward movement without participating in downward movement, there's no way you can go with fixed. You want to go with the current situation of the market, current crediting. So if this index move up by 10%, 10 point, or by plus 1 to 8%, then you get credited 8% times 1.45, which will give you way more money than those that are trading the actual market with this index. So there will be questions. They will ask you a question like, what is this one here? Why is it showing guarantee? Why is it too low? Why is it too small? Well, I want us to take this and take note of this. This guarantee portion of it, which shows 0.25, it means that if the worst were to happen to America today, if the economy were to crumble beyond repairable limit, go down to maybe negative 2 million or 2,000, and just stay down there for years upon years without coming up. If the market were to go down continuously, let's look at where it's going to stop. Continuously for over, let's say for over 30 years, just continuously being down for 30 years without going up, then you will lose all your money in this policy. But hey, ask yourself this: have you ever seen the market go down continuously for even 5 years, don't perform negatively for 5 years? Anybody who can answer me, please? I want to know if anybody has ever witnessed that. The people sleeping? I hope we are all together. I hope we are moving together.
We are together.
Yeah, we are together.
Yes.
I was not supposed to ask you to go again if we were moving. Anyway, for the benefit of, I know people are moving. So I asked that, have you ever heard of the economy? Have you ever because we do have historical performance of this indices. Can the market go down continuously for 10 years without ever coming up, just keep deepening and going down?
It's not possible.
Cool. So that's why I always tell people that this guarantee assumption, it makes no sense, but we have to abide by federal guidelines. So for federal guideline or IUS company, they have to put this on their illustration. We just being more transparent than any other person could ever be transparent. It is never possible for the market to go down continuously for 10 years. But this scenario here, this worst case scenario that you see here is, let's say the market were to continue to just deepen for 31 years. that's when this person will lose all the money. Because some people tell you that, oh, if the market goes down, you lose all your money. That's not true. Those people who are just maybe sponsored by Wall Street to say anything on YouTube, when they say those things, refer to a professional so that they can help you. We are very transparent, and we put this here for a reason, because federal guidelines require all IUL carrier to put this column. Worst case scenario, it should have been 0% in an IUL in an index creating strategy that the floor was 0. But the floor here is 0.25. So it means that if the market deepens to negative, just keep going down every year. That's where you will have these values here. And so you look like, oh, you're making less money than maybe you put it in. So for those that want to think so much, those that are very market savvy, please tell them this and ask them this. That since you trade in the market, have you seen an instance where the market goes down continuously for even just 5 years in a row without coming up, without bouncing back 1 year or 2 years? The market will always go down, and there will always be market correction. It will always come up, go down and come up. So that's it. To overcome such objection, you have to know how to put this to some of those clients that are really talented, because they will challenge you on this. Now, let's go to the guarantee assumption. Yeah, you could not guarantee, but alternate, not guarantee. You could decide to take a fixed interest rate of end of year, at every end of year of 4.75, provided you don't want to go with current assumption. So it means that if the market goes favorable, if the market favors F&G, they're still going to give you just 4.5, because this is fixed interest, a fixed interest that you sign that you want to go for. Let's say they were to give a fixed interest of 4.75. This is how your policy will perform. And if you will look at it, you still see that it's still beating. I mean, they look at, you put in 120 the first 10 years, and then the account value is 131. But here, with the current assumption, following the current index crediting of 7.16, this is what we'll be basing on. We'll focus our attention on that portion, because that's actually what you are going to be signing here. Because remember, you want to take advantage of market movement, but you don't want to participate in the market downturn. You want to take advantage of the upward movement of the market. For you to do that, we will credit you based on current performance of the market. That makes sense? Hey, participation, please. We need to participate so that people don't fall asleep. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense, my brother.
Yeah, because some people, they will ask you questions. I have met accountants here and met economists. I've sold them on this, and they were like, "Oh, you are right. You're right." When I really tell them this, well, because usually I always show them the index account, how money grows, which grows by variable, fixed, or index. So you agree that index, you like it because you lock your gains and you lock your principal, you never lose money, but you take advantage of the upward movement of the market. So for that to happen, it means that we'll go with current assumption, and nobody knows what is going to happen tomorrow. Even when you invest in your stock or crypto, you don't know what is going to happen to the market tomorrow, right? You're only going to depend on when the market goes up, you make money.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's it. So this is where we will be focusing our attention on, so that no client will throw you back and say that, hey, what about this? Why is it that this one? I want you to talk about this. We could talk about it as many times as possible so that they get it and they understand it. It's okay. So let's look at, okay, our sample client A put in 120,000 in the space of 10 years, and the money has already grown to 147,000. At this point, she can take out 145. That's the account surrender value. If she were to surrender this account at this time, she will get $145,000 paid to her account. And then if she were not to surrender it at this account at this point, her death benefit has grown, or her living benefit has grown from 329,000 to 466,000. So it means that if anything were to happen that she need to accelerate a portion of this money, the accelerated benefit will be calculated based on this death benefit now, not on the face amount. So pay attention. And then, whoa, so if anything were to happen to you, Miss Client, that is what you get. And then nobody would not want to have something like this in order to supplement for any for medical expenses. So if she were to have a critical illness or a terminal illness at this point, this is what he gets. at first sight, for those who are used to making so much money in investment, they will tell you that, oh, but this is not really that great. Remind them of the debt benefit portion of it. There are minimal charges and some expenses that you are paying on this account within the first 10 years. The first 10 years in an index universal life will not look that great if you're really looking at it from investment, but also remind them that this money you're taking is tax-free. If you were to invest this, let's say, I always like to ask them, if you were to invest this same amount of 120 within a space of 10 years, that is starting by just every month put in, let's say 1,000 in your 401k, it would have grown to almost the same amount because they both have the same growth rate. But now the tax factor of it, Uncle Sam is going to tax you based on what you get, you're making. 120 or 145, $147,000 is bringing you almost close to 30% tax bracket. So if you have to go pay 30% tax on this, let's just even say 25% tax, yeah. And then you see how much money you're going to lose out of this. But here, this is tax-free money. It looks like you're not making money, but you've made $47,000 in just 10 years. If you put this money in the bank, you'll never make any money of it. But if you put it in another investment, you probably may think that you'll make more. Maybe they will say, hey, if I buy real estate, but can you buy real estate really with $1,000? You look at this 120 because we gave you the opportunity, or we try to discipline your saving, and we gave you the opportunity to put money and accumulate for this 10 years. If you could put money and accumulate, then if you were to buy your real estate, probably you will be buying it at the point where it's maybe getting to maybe 100 or so. So you're not going to buy like the very first day. But from the very first day here, your money is working and bringing interest, and the power of compound interest is what is just making this policy look so good. Right. And if anybody have any question, please you could ask it, and then we'll clarify as we move on. So let's, if it is based on this illustration, but then let's go down again. When you look at the next 10 years, yeah, a question?
I just want to be really sure of what I'm thinking, like was said the other time. It means now that if we, like you said, this is the surrender value, the debt benefit or our cash benefit, which will not have this surrender value add to it. If anything were to happen and you were to get it all, you wouldn't take this and add to this. The two last columns.
No, you don't need to. Yeah, let me really make sure anybody who's having a doubt, please get this straight. This cash surrender value you see here has been added to your initial debt benefit to come out with the actual debt benefit at that time T, right? At that particular moment. So you are not losing anything here, because somebody will think that you're losing. If you give it either way, if you choose to ask, if you take out this 145,000, obviously if you die, you are not going to get 466,000. They will give you 466,000 less 145,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's your debt benefit at that time, because you have taken the cash value, because this cash value added to the initial phase to make the actual, which I call it the actual phase or the actual debt benefit. You can punch it on your calculator. So at any time, whatever you see in this column of debt benefit is what your beneficiary will get if you pass away. So it's not going to change. So if you die without taking this, it's just still the same, because if you have taken this money, it's still going to be less. They're going to deduct it. They're going to give you whichever one is greater.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that makes sense?
Got it. Thank you. Got it.
All right, cool. Now, let's move downward. The next 10 years. Let's say Miss client saved again for 10 years. Yeah, to contribute or invest again. She would have put in another 120 years. I mean, $20,000, which will now bring this total sum to $240,000. Then the account value has increased to $495. That's double. She has literally doubled her money, more than double. Now, some other people who will tell you that it's good to buy a term and invest the difference in the market. Well, taking an index universal life policy like this is actually buying a term policy and investing the difference in a reliable market, in a more secure market. Because you invest in a market where you stand no chance of losing your principal or your gain. But if you were to just buy and go to Wall Street and invest in the market, well, be ready to get maybe spikes. Like, okay, your account may grow up today to maybe to 50%, and then the next day is going down to 100% the next day. So you will not even have the time to even take the money. So market movement is really sometimes, I mean, if you are somebody who is vulnerable to maybe some sort of palpitation or maybe cardiac problem, you don't want to really even follow the trend of market movement, because you may die before you get even whatever money or whatever percentage the market is making. So if this is buying a term and investing the difference in the market, because look at it, you have, remember, we said this insurance portion, the insurance portion of this would have cost our client just $119 per month. That's almost equivalent to a term policy that you're paying for. But now you have the rest of that money is being invested and in the market, but that then is not invested in an open market, but the investment is tied to this index, which we selected. And this index crediting that is Barclay Trailblazer annual point to point with a 145% participation rate and a 100% bonus. So your investment is tied to that index, the movement of that index, but the upward movement of that index, don't get me wrong. Then when that index moves downward, you don't have to participate in the downward movement. And there will be questions like, how does that happen? Well, they buy some sort of the stocks and like some security bonds and all those bonds, and then options. Then in form of options, those options are tied to the movement of this index. When the index moves down and approaches zero, those options expires, so that the company too they're not really losing money because they're doing this trading in a general account. It expires and then they stay at that index crediting floor of 0.25. They keep on making money. So in the days, if the market were to go down to negative 1,000, you will still be making 0.25 on your account. So you're not going to be losing money instead, but you're going to still be netting some money on your account, which means your gains and your principal were locked up by the index strategy from the point that index hit zero and started going negative, and then but you're still making money. So now, and that's why this is possible, that in the first 20 years, you are able to double your money. Now, with the return of premium policy, if you take a return of premium policy, if you will qualify for that, then you have to, most return of premium policy, you have to go to the term of the contract. If it is a 30-year term, then you have to go for 30 years before you can get just your money. Let's say it was even a 10-year term. And at this point, the policy was to end, because the policy ends and then you get back your money, the money that you put with. Either you get a 75% of your money or all of your money, depending on the carrier. Very few carriers offer 100% return. So now, if they were to return you all of your money, then you get 120,000 at this point. But look at this, 10 years, because the minimum term that we could have is 10 years, 10, 15, 20, 30. So let's take 10 years and let's say, hey, let's treat this, let's match it even to a return of premium. This will still beat, because you will make an additional $47,000 on your money. Somebody who went in for just a return of premium at the age of 10, if that is even possible, because I always hear most return of premium will go up to 30 years or 20, 25 years. So if it is possible for 10 years, then you have to get just 100,000 back at this point. Remember, during those periods, you were protected, you were covered. But now you were covered for 10 years, and then you still get $47,000 added to your money and given to you. It means that the insurance company basically protected you for free, covered you for free for those 10 years, because you made more money. You were investing, you still make money on your money. So that's some of the selling points that you want to make your client understand. Most people don't understand this, and they will make decisions based on what they understand. So if they don't understand this, they will not really they will not even want to consider this. Now, 20 years down the road, there's no other product that will beat this. You've doubled your money. You still got 814,000 of coverage there. If you were to take this money, you can take it out, but they're going to take it out of your death benefit if you were to pass away next day. So either way, whichever one you choose to do. This is just basically saying that if you keep this, she keep this policy up to maybe the age of 55, she wants to buy a home, she can take this amount of money, buy her home with, but that money will still, because it's borrowing against this account value, that money will still be here in this policy working interest. They say you borrow, you take out maybe $400,000, at that point to go maybe do some real estate business, and they charge you 5%, 5% of 400,000. If there's any smart mathematician here, please let me know. It will be 20,000. So they will charge you 20,000. Yeah, you pay 20,000 on that loan for a year. So for 400,000. So now, if that index on that year performs like 15%, you will still make 10% on that this same money. So you make 40% minus 20%. I mean 40,000 minus 20,000, which means you still netting. Your money is still working interest for you. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So your money, you're using your money, and the money is still working for you here because you didn't take a withdrawal. So you borrow this money, and that's why you were able to take this money without paying any tax. So if you tell me there's any other investment out there that would let you make this type of money go free without paying any tax, I really doubt it. I want to see it. Yeah. If you have it, you can show me. Now, let's look at the craziest part of this policy. Remember, at the age of 55, Ms. Client stopped contributing into this policy. And she stopped contributing when her account was 495,000. Take note of this. Now, down the road, 10 years down the road, he has not added any franc, no dollar has gone in here again, not even a dime. But look at what has happened. The account value has grown from 495 to 1,100,000. So those people who want to think so much about, oh, the investment doesn't make sense, come on. Remember, this is long-term investment. Can you imagine, okay, if you put in this money for 240 in the market and stop, are you sure 240 would have give you this same amount of tax, this money tax-free, with taking this money without paying any tax on it? So the money has doubled, more than doubled again, without you adding anything. You've paid, the account is considered as paid off, and is paid off up to the age of 120. Not up to the age of 100. So now let's go down. So look at it. I mean, I am really so passionate when I see how this cash accumulates, especially when you paid it off, you're not doing anything again, you're just sleeping and your money is working for you. So now, and we decided to say, okay, hey, since our client was putting in, how much was he putting in again? 12,000 a year, right? 12,000 a year.
Yes.
You put in 12,000 a year for 20 years and you stop. Now we're going to give you 117,000. That is more than 10 times what you were putting in 1 year. You will give you, that is your money for 1 year times 10 plus 5,000 again on it for the rest of your life. That solves the problem of worrying if you live another year in retirement, will you have money? I have been a nurse for over 20 years, and I've worked with seniors, I've worked with people in nursing home, and I see most of their concern with people who are retired. I know anybody listening to me here will bear with me that when we retire, the greatest burden we have is that if we were to live another year, will we still be able to have money to pay for our bills, pay for our medical expenses or whatever, take care of ourselves? And that worry alone can render you sick, and not only sick, you could die just because you are not sure of tomorrow. That fear of unknown. So we take off that burden. If you decide to go in for this policy from you, we take off that burden off your neck. I mean, let's say the economy were to remain just be at 7.16, which I know this is one of the worst points in the American economy because we're just recovering from COVID. But now if the economy were to perform better, you even get more. But let's say the economy were to perform less, you will get less. But I mean, just let's say it goes down to 6. But how long will it go down to 6 and remain? Historical values shows us, which I will show you here, that this account in the past 20 years has averaged 10.22% per year. So we are very sure that the next 10 years is not going to be really that different from the past 10 years or the past 20 years. So if the past 20 years were just to be like, I mean, the next 20 years were just to be like the past 20 years, which this index has been performing and we see it, then we're going to make more money than we see here. Now, for the past 40 years, S&P, which is performing like a little bit inferior to this Barclay, when you look at those participation rate and those bonuses, in the past 40 years has averaged 10.62%. So Barclay in the next 10 years, 40 years, I'm very, very sure that it's going to also perform like maybe above 10%. So, and if it performs above 10%, it means that you'll be getting like maybe 150,000 in your retirement years, because your cash will grow more aggressively than you see here, because we're basing on current index assumption of 7.16. All right. Any question?
No.
In the absence of question, let me go down. All right. Yeah. Remember, we saw that our client puts in 240,000 in this period of 20 years. Now, with just the first 10 years of distribution, she's getting $174,000. So 10-year distribution, you've already taken your money almost times, I don't know, is it more than 5 times your money? The money you ever invested here, you've already gotten all your money back. So even if you were to pass away at the age of 75, what are you losing? We took your 240,000 in this period of 20 years and extended that money to grow up to $1,174,000. And that's not all. You still have 741,000 sitting there, which means that basically we have extended that for 240,000 that you ever paid into this account. Remember, you didn't pay it at once, because if we were asked to put in 240,000 at once, nobody will have this. So they give you that opportunity to save little by little and go up to this level. Now, if she takes out nothing out of this account by this time, then the account would have been evaluated at $2,292,000. Well, if you tell me that, hey, if you bought a property with 240,000 and keep it for 10 years, the value will go up to 2 million. I will grossly disagree, because that cannot happen here in America. All homeowners would have been rich. In 10 years' time, a property's value cannot increase by 3 times or by 10 times. So, I mean, they cannot even say that. So I meet a lot of people, great wealthy guys who invest in real estate, and they bump this type of thing, and I tell them, and they agree. They say, hey, that's true. You cannot make this type of crazy money. And I tell them, okay, and do you realize that this is tax-free? But whatever you would have made outside there would have been taxable to you. And they're like, I think the tax portion of it really got me. I think I'll consider that. So these are selling tips that you have to, yeah. And now look at, you have permanent insurance on your life till 120, but you're still making your money here. Let's say she leave, there's some echo. I don't know who is having echo. Please, if you're using any device, or yeah, you may want to mute it, just mute. Yeah, if you're not talking, you want to mute yourself, please. All right. Now, at age 85, that is 50 years, that is 20 years from when you stop saving, or 30 years, you would have distributed 2.3 million of what? You invested 240,000 and you've gotten out 2,348,000, and you still have 372,000 left here. If you had not taken any money at this point, your account would have grown to 4.4 million. At age 85, which is a pretty much good age that everybody could live up to this. So what if you were to take your 1,000 every month for 20 years, put it somewhere, to grow that money, their money to 4.4 million of tax-free money, so that if you go away tomorrow, you can give it to your beneficiary or whoever. So, but now, if you were to pass away at this point, you will get, if you were to pass away without distributing, you will get all of your account value. But if you have distributed this money and you pass away at this point, you will still have 594,000 left for you, for your whoever you put as a beneficiary to take this money and enjoy life with it. So let's go down quickly. Fast forward again. I mean, just we are saying that this money is almost like tripling every 10 years, not even doubling. Now, at the age of 95, which I know a lot of people who have lived up to 95 years, you would have taken out 3.5 million from what? 240,000 that you invested. And you are still having 141,000 left liquid cash. You could still take a net benefit of 224,000. If you had taken nothing at this point, your account value would be evaluated at, with this money would have grown up to $8,333,000, assuming that we stay at 7.16% index crediting. We will go up a little bit, you make more. We'll go down a little bit, it could be shy of this amount a little bit too. So if the average in the past 30 years could be less than 7.16, then you make a little bit less than that. Now, let's go down. Age 105. A lot of them will say, hey, I don't want to live this long. And I always tell them my story. My dad died at the age of 116, and he didn't die in America. He died in a country where he didn't have access to the best medical doctors. A lot of hazard back home. So I'm very confident that I'm going to go up to 100. I don't know what about you? What are you thinking about yourself? I'm positive in my mind. Okay, now at this point, the money would have grown to 16 million. So at this point, it gets crazy, and they'll be like, wait a minute, it's too much. I don't think this is possible. Well, it is possible. If we stay at this index crediting, we're showing you what will have happened to your money. We're projecting the current assumption of how your money would have grown if you put this money in this tool, and you get this money without having to pay any tax on it. And then if we were to, let's say, go up down to 150, let's even end there and say this other one is a bonus. Yeah, there's a potential of extending this money to up to 44 million US dollars, 240,000 being extended to up to 44 million US dollars. Well, if you were not to take any money, let's say you did this and say, okay, I'm just keeping this so that if I pass away at any time, my kids or my children should take this and don't have to suffer or go through what I went through in life. And then you have your pension, you say, okay, I want to depend on my pension, but if anything were to happen, I can go in a little bit. This is just for illustration purpose. You don't need to distribute. But if you choose to distribute, this is how much you could distribute, based on the current index crediting that we're showing here. Now, quickly, let's run down. Let me show you the historical performance of this index. Just so that you are more armed to face those difficult clients that will come and bump question. Tell them that, hey, this is historical performance of those indices, and especially the Barclays Trailblazer annual point to point. Do you see here? It has a 145% participation rate with no spread. And it has another additional 1% bonus, subject to current cap rate participation rate up to over the last 65 years. 25-year ruling over this 65 year, and account average from okay, cool. All right, it shows us some of the indices and their caps. Let's look at that. 20 years ruling. S&P 500 in the past 20 years has averaged 11.58. Oh, sorry, past 10 years. The past 20 years has averaged 5.35. S&P 500. Done. We are not using S&P, so we could explain this. They ask what is that, but let's go to Barclay. Barclay in the past, Barclay, make sure we understand this. This is the index, what S&P has done with those that are trading in the market. Now, if you have an index universal life that's tied to S&P 500 that is subject to a 13% cap, this is how much money you would have made in the past 10 years. 8.89. And then in the past 20 years, S&P, those that had account attached to this, since we have a floor of 0.25, which prevents us from going down negative with the index, you see that in the past 20 years, those that have index universal life attached to S&P has made more money than those that are trading in the market using even S&P. So I don't know where some of those people that just threw a lot of conspiracy, just say anything on the internet or on YouTube saying that, hey, you cannot make more money. They're looking for maybe one day. Okay, let's look at that one day here. All right, let's look at 2 separate days. Let's say in 2008, The S&P went down negative 39 points. And so you didn't lose any money. You didn't go down negative 29. You still made 0.25% on your money. Now, when it went up in 2009 to 27%, you made 13%, but you are conserving because you're making and conserving your money. So, but this guy will enjoy 27 today and tomorrow 39, negative 39. The next day, maybe 11, the next day, negative 1. The next day, 17, and then you enjoy negative period, a lot of negative. And that's why you see that in the past 20 years, Index Universal Life Crediting has actually is a way ahead, beat S&P crediting, open index crediting by more than 2.2%. All right. Now, all right, let's go to where we are. We're working with Barclay Trailblazer, another point to point. In the past 10 years, this index has been in existence for 15 years. So the historical performance for 20 years is not available. But for the past 15 years, Barclay has performed at an average of 6.05%. But those that had Barclay index, do you see the difference? More than 4 points. They had averaged 10.62% on their money. That's why I like to choose Barclay over S&P 500. You can see it because by S&P, there's just a difference of about 2 points gap. And on average, Barclay beats even S&P by 3 percentage point. Now, so you show it to them, review the index crediting with them. Those that review them, that they say, oh, are there some expense charges or this? Yes, of course, there are some expense, some account charges, some the cost of insurance and all those stuff, which I told you that that's the factor. Those are the factors that will reduce your crediting a little bit within the first 10 years. But when you go up and you start really, when you break even and you start making more money, you discover that there's actually nothing to even worry about. I want to make money, but I don't want to stop the other person from making his own money. The person that is making me to make money from making a little bit of money too. If you think about these charges so much, then you will be like that person who want to have everything for yourself and nothing for the other, for the people that are even causing you to have the money, right? If you pass away today, who do you file a claim to? If this company doesn't take some minimum account or management fees or all those things, who will you file a claim in the air? How will the money come to you? Who will apportion that money to your account? They have workers that are working there every day and night. So to be able to take care of those workers, they need some expense charges and some management fee, which is really nothing at all on each account. And the cost of insurance to be able to carry the insurance coverage that you have in 57. The cost of insurance on that 300 days is just $57, which is just like a term policy for a whole year. It's even less than a term. We're talking about $57 a year, not even a month. Oh my goodness, do you see that? Hey, I don't know if people are sleeping here. Mr. Moses, do you see that?
We are just marveled.
I just discovered that I was even passing over something that I could really say it in a better way. Yeah. So the cost of insurance of this insurance coverage of $300,029 for on this individual is $57 for that 1 year, not for 1 month. Whoa, divided by 12, that's about $2, right? Okay, if you divide by 12, about $6. So yeah, not even up to $6, about $4 per month for you to have that in this thing. So the rest of your money is invested in the market. You're doing pure investment here. And that's why you have a little bit of expense charge of $810, bro. So if you can make up to maybe $3,000, or let's say you even make more than that, because when you go to some point, you will see that you're making like $50,000 every year when it goes down, when that compound interest really set in. And then they're charging you just a little as, I mean, all right, think about it. From 7 to 18, it means that you made how much dollar have you made this year? 11,000, right? Oh, no, let's look at here. 10 to 21, $11,000. You made $11,000 in the first year, and then you've been charged just 810. 11,000. If you were to pay tax on 11,000, how much will you pay? Almost maybe 4,000 to 3,000. Maybe just say $3,000 to $4,000. So if you add all the expenses, it's nothing at all. Because some people are so regarding on these charges and then they forget about what they're getting. But if this doesn't come up, don't go here. Don't go here. If somebody asks you a question about the expense, just go there and really be face to face, be clear. Let's face fact. Face fact with let's review it. Now let's look at something here. Let's go down a little bit. Look at the age of 65. Age 65. This money grew from, do you see that? From 1 million, take note here, 1,102,000 to 1,192,000. It means that this year from age 65 to age 66, you made more than $92,000 on your money.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
But see how much money you've been charged. Just $1,599 plus 108. That's less than $2,000 that you've been charged. If you were to make that $92,000 in any investment out there, take the tax on $92,000 and tell me if it will be more than this or less than this. Are we there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you see the weapons that you have to really kill this market with it? Mr. Moses?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's face fact, because some people say, oh, I will make more money than this. Well, let's go. Let's show it. Let's dissect it. Wow. It's crazy because because I have one guy who was like, oh, the fees, I don't just get it. I said, let's go. Let's face this thing. Let's look at them. And he was like, really? That's true. I think this is better. You don't have to ever pay the tax on this money that you're making here, provided you stay within the guideline. And you also have the opportunity to take this money, use it while the money is still working for you. Wow. Okay, that's it. That's just a clear example. Let's go down again. Maybe somebody listening to this will say, oh, they only took 1 point. Let's take another point. From age 76 to age 77. Your money move from, do the math, 2,629,000 to 2. So you netted more than almost $200,000 on this year. Do you see that? In 1 year, the increase from 2,455,000 to 2,621,000. That's more than 180,000 that you made without doing anything while you are sleeping you on your bed.
1 year.
Yeah, in 1 year, while you're sleeping on your bed, you made more than a physician would earn working all the year. So smart investment, brother. Choose wisely. Those of you who are not funding your account well, think, divert all money into this thing. Stop whatever project you are doing wherever. Because at that time that you need the money, you can take a bulk of money here and go and do that project in less than 1 month and finish. Right? Because we are doing some of our project that we're doing wherever, back home or whatever, other people will even be there. You go home, anonymity or whatever, and then you cost yourself, you just create problem for yourself even for nothing. In 1 year, you made almost $200,000. Let's go down to the age of 85, 84. Your account went from 4,173,000 to 4,400,000. Oh my goodness. How many $100 are there? More than $300,000 in 1 year. That's the power of compound interest. Once that compound interest built up to a certain level, it just starts kicking out. I'm happy I'm talking to you guys who understand a little bit how the tree grows. I usually tell people about this, but I don't know how many people actually understand how some trees, especially some of these trees, like the plum tree, mango tree, back in our home that we grew up, and we saw some trees in the whole village that everybody will eat of the plum, eat of the mango, but we don't even know who planted those trees. Some ancestors that died a long time ago. So I usually liken this money growth in an index universal life to a tree of mango or pear. That you plant this tree, you need to put in some money within the first 10 years or the year, so that, you need to pump it. Even the cocoa tree, which we know very well, the first maybe 5 years, you have to pump it, do some insecticide spray, protect it so that it doesn't, break. Animals should not eat this, to do not destroy the plant. When you guide this plant until it reaches maturity, do you do anything again on this plant? No. the plant will just keep on bearing. The taproot is deeply anchored in the soil. It can fetch its own water, its own mineral, its own food. There's nothing, no animal, even the more animal eats of the bark of that tree at that time, they cause the tree to grow bigger. Because when you wound it, you wound those trees, they grow, they instead puff up again. The scar tissue make the tree to even increase in tenacity. So this is a money tree that you've planted, that at the age of that 85, you are sleeping, you are hardly even breathless. You don't even have money. You are surely moving with your wheelchair or your walker, but you are making money more than people who are suffering, who are working day and night without resting. So that's smart investment. You are making money off because you committed to do something in the space of 20 years of your life, and you did that thing and you stopped. Now that money just keep multiplying. And that's the reason why you're able to get those millions of this money without the policy lapsing. That makes sense?
Yep.
A lot of sense.
All right, guys, I think if there are some things that I have not said, which we could say it if any question come on that. So we see that there's no match to this index universal life. No matter how the rate, they will slash the rate, even if they slash it to 5%, you will still make more money than you will make anywhere elsewhere. And remember, think about you making $300,000 in 1 year while you are sleeping maybe in your hospital bed sick, and then you don't have to pay any tax on it. I mean, I don't know if there's any other thing that we can compare it to this. But however, that's it. That's the end of this review. And I wanted you to tell me if there was anything that you got, any new thing, anything that you got that you still doubting, you want us to clarify. It was the presentation helpful? Let's get your reaction. Quick reaction so that we can cut the recording short.
Yeah, it was very helpful to me. Now that I think more points which I have acquired now, which I can sell to clients.
Cool. Develop the confidence in yourself, guy. You can sell to anybody. I'm selling to people that I've never met before from one time close. They get like, what? Okay, I want to do this. The only thing that we are having as problem here is working against trust. If they just trust and they understand that what you are doing is genuine, they will go for this. Because most people will like, okay, but this is sounding to be too good to be true. Can this be a scam? Ask them that, all right, if I were to scam you, Mr. Moses, would I not just tell you that wire me some money so that I can send you this policy? Why is it that I will have to you have to give your driver license, give all your information to me. We have to submit it somewhere to be approved. Does scammers really work that way?
No.
so sometimes I laugh and I make them even sound foolish. Those of them who think that is coming, I asked them this question and they was like, yeah, that's true. I say, yeah, as you see this, these are just figures. You have not qualified for this and you can't just get this. If you have 1 million today, you want to put in this account, nobody will take it from you. You have to wait, go through the underwriting, and until you are determined as approved, your account is determined approve, you will not be able to put any money in. And you cannot put your 1 million because we follow guidelines. We're heavily regulated. We follow federal guidelines here. We don't take money from anybody. I'm just a messenger on behalf of F&G, which is their policy. Next week, we may review North American policy too. We review other policies. So I work with over 56 different A-rated carriers, and they sell Index Universal Life. This is evidently one of the best products that I have right now. And that's why I'm so passionate about presenting this to people, because it beats almost everything that you have outside there when it comes to accumulating cash that you need down the road in time of difficulties, or just need that cash down the road to supplement for your retirement, or you just want to keep it and transfer the wealth to the people you put on the policy as beneficiary, so that you have to just change a story of a whole generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Nissan.
My hand is up.
Nissan.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I'm not even seeing with the chat. You people should just talk. We are not many, so I would like, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Abba?
Yes. Yeah. My internet has been giving me trouble. Keep on locking me out because of internet services. Both my phone and my laptop were not working. So I don't know, since you record it, I would like to have the recording so that.
Yes, sir. We
I go
will
from
have the
there.
recording shared to everybody. Everybody, we'll have it.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, Sister Aja, go ahead. You have some.
Yeah.
Your hand was up.
I just wanted to say that it's really, really helpful. And another quick question that I wanted to ask is that if you have a client that doesn't have much money now to really front load the account, is there a possibility to grow his or her policy in the nearest future? For instance, somebody would have loved to come in maybe with a 1,000 premium or 2,000 premium, just an example, and maybe starting from 500 or 200. Is there a way that in the nearest future you can come to still grow up this account, or you have to set up a different policy?
No, there is possibility to do that. Let me show you something. Yes, if you have your $500, you want to start with it, even $200, we can open an account. Remember what I just said here. There's a way to do that, and we have to do that very technically, because if you don't do it technically, these are some of the things that you hear agent or you hear client customers saying that, hey, I have a policy, and then they kept asking me to increase money. Those are some of the cases, and I'm happy that you asked this question. We put our client first. We are not working for anybody, not for any industry or any company here, but we're not working even for ourselves, but we just so passionate about the crusade, about spreading this message to everybody. You could take a policy today. You want to just maybe pay the minimum non-lap premium. Look at this policy. You could take this policy, pay your first premium of $1,000. And then if you don't, something happens, just maybe you drop down to $200 and just maintain $200 into this account. Yeah, up to the age of 50, and then you could increase it. So sometimes people say, oh, what if I don't have money tomorrow? Let's face this squarely. Yes, I hate to say I will not have money tomorrow. I would rather love you to say, what if I have much money tomorrow? Well, how will I do with it? When I say like that, they will laugh. I say, okay, because I'm so positive in my mind. Yes, let's take that. Okay, tomorrow you didn't have money for a whole year. I mean, how long will it take you? Let's say you lost your job, because most of them will say, if I lost my job and I can't afford this $1,000, what do I do? If you lost your job today, Mr. Moses, how long will it take you to find another job in the United States?
Well, it depends on where you are.
Okay, yeah, let's say worst case scenario.
Averagely, it can take you about 3 months.
No, let's say 1 year. Let's say it takes you 1 year to find another job. Worst case scenario, right? At least that 1 year, you could pay just your premium of $119 per month. Would that be more than you to pay $119?
No.
Do you think $119 will be more than somebody who initially started paying $1,000 somewhere?
No, it will not be.
Cool. That is a no-brainer, right? I like us to reason like that. So you tell them that, hey, this policy is so flexible. You could put in just your $100 or $200 every month during those down period of your life. Even if you choose to drive Uber, even if you choose to do whatever you want to do outside there, you will be able to afford this at least in a month, right? If you really value this policy, if you know the importance of what you have, you'll be able to protect it so that it doesn't lapse. Now, when those good years come, you can put as much money as possible. Let me show you how much money this policy could take. Let's follow the guidelines. This policy could take up to, so when those good years come, you could even pay back, and they give you the opportunity to, let's say you miss a year, you were contributing minimum, and then suddenly you won even the lottery. You have some big money. They give you the opportunity. Let's say you've missed even 3 years. They'll give you that opportunity to backdate. You can put money without making your account more for up to 3 years backward, which is really one of the greatest flexibility of this policy. Now, 7 year pay premium. It means that you can put up to $18,000 in this account per year without causing it to become a modified endowment plan contract. Do you see that? Cool. Yeah. So, but the minimum you could put in is $119. You could choose to pay for up to target, or you could choose to contribute just your 12-year annual premium that you decided to do, or you could choose to put more money. If you have the opportunity to do, you put more money in this policy, and then you get better result when you put more money upfront. That makes sense?
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Cool. Hey, any other question? Can we do us a favor to, I'm only seeing some few people, and the other people, I'm not able to see them. If I meet them on the way, I will not even know them. but it's okay if you are in a place where you can't turn on your camera. It's okay, but we would love to see you so that we can get to connect more with you.